Hi everyone, it is time for a new video, and today I want to talk about some books that I think are absolutely perfect if you're trying to get out of a reading slump. And I recently was in a reading slump. I made a reading vlog where I tried to find books to get me out of it, and I think I've successfully done that. And a few of them will be mentions that I recently read. A few are books that I think, I read a while ago, but I think are the perfect way to get out of a slump. And honestly, I tried to make it a combination of genres and vibes and different reasons why I think it will help you to get out of a slump. And so let's just jump straight into it because I'm really excited to tell you about all of these. So first book that I have here is one that I recently read and I absolutely fell in love with, and that is Voidwalker by S.A. McLean. I feel like if you have not read it yet and you love romantasy, you're absolutely missing out and you need to get to it, and it was just absolutely incredible. So this is a long book, so don't worry, there's gonna be a lot of short books as well on this list, but I was not bored for a single second. It was super gripping and addicting and just like an absolute page turner. It honestly got me like out of my fantasy slump as well, because I have been in that for a while, and I was like, it's really hard for me to find the fantasy that works for me, even though I love it as a genre. But this just like was incredible. And so this is an adult fantasy romance, and our main character, Fi, is a smuggler, and so she goes through these like portals and travels through the void to deliver these different, things. And she gets this suspicious job to smuggle something into this important city, and it turns out it's a bomb. And the guy there, who is this kind of people called Dayari, like dangerous creatures that basically have to eat people to survive. And so he is the lord of that city, and so he finds her and he's like, okay, I'm not gonna kill you, but you have to help me find out who did this and who's behind all of this. So they have to work together, and it's enemies to lovers, and I loved this so much. There were some amazing side characters, and the plot was fast-paced and the stakes were high. It's kind of, I think it's part of a duology, but it does have a mostly closed ending as well. And so I highly recommend this. The characters are wonderful, the romance is amazing, and so definitely pick this one up. Next book I have here is a graphic novel, which is If You'll Have Me by Uni, and I adored this. It is super cute, super wholesome, and obviously I think graphic novels and comics are the perfect way to get out of a reading slump because it's obviously easier to read and more stimulating and usually shorter and quicker. And at the same time, there are some absolutely wonderful stories out there that it's an amazing reading experience. And this one, there's nothing I love more than a shiny, fully colored graphic novel. And I also love the story of this, obviously. And so this one is like a young adult sapphic romance. And I don't think I'm gonna say more because it doesn't have a super specific plot. And so maybe some people would not like that, but it is very quick to read and just so easy to absorb. But the characters are wonderful and it's super cute, just absolutely adorable, and I loved it so much. It's kind of like a shy girl, popular girl combo, which was really great to see in a sapphic version, and so highly recommend this. I, again, adore the art of this, and I need this author to publish another graphic novel because this was absolutely wonderful. The next book is Unromance by Erin Connor. This is a book that I'm absolutely obsessed with. One of my, last year's favorite books, but just, instant all-time favorite, and I loved every single second of this. This was the kind of experience where on the first page, I'm invested already, and I love when that happens. It's very rare, and so whenever it happens, I'm just like, oh my god, this is gonna be the best reading experience of my life, and it absolutely was. And so we have an author heroine and an actor hero, and they basically keep running into each other. The heroine, Sawyer, as a romance author, she obviously notices these meet cute vibes and stuff like that, but she's determined for that to not be a meet cute because she does not want to fall in love. Mason, on the other hand, is kind of like a hopeless romantic, and they make a plan to do an unromance list where they're gonna do a lot of random rom-com cliche things together, get rid of unrealistic notions of love, and guess what? They're gonna fall in love, and just, oh my god, it was absolutely perfect. The most amazing combination of emotional, steamy, fun, sweet, romantic, and just incredibly, absolutely perfect. And I devoured it. And again, There was not a single boring moment in this. Like, again, I got hooked immediately and I never stopped. You know, like there wasn't a single chapter, single scene where I'm like, you know what, this, like, why is this here? Like, this is boring or anything like that. Never happened. So I need more people to read this because it's literally a masterpiece and you need to pick it up. The next book I have here is Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga, and this one is a middle grade contemporary book written in verse. And so I highly, highly recommend you read books written in verse if you haven't already, because once again, in a similar concept to graphic novels, it's obviously like less words to process and faster to read, but there are so many books that are written so well that even though it's written in verse with less words, it still tells the whole story and is beautiful and wonderful. And obviously middle grade is also easier to read than an adult book, and so highly recommend you try that. And this book I absolutely loved. It is beautiful and emotional and meaningful. And so our main character is from Syria, and with her mom they have to move to the United States. And so as the title suggests, it kind of deals with, you know, obviously moving away from your home country because of a war and then having to adjust to a completely different place and different people and culture and all of those things. And even though it's middle grade, I felt like it explored these topics in like a very deep way, and it was just absolutely beautiful. Obviously, like very strong family dynamics and like making new friends and just like growing up and all of those things. And I absolutely loved this book, and you need to pick it up. And yeah, highly recommend it. I think this is the only novel in verse that I have on this list. But I have read a few, so let me know if you would like a different recommendation video for that. Next book is honestly an older favorite of mine that I've been wanting to reread for a long time, and that is Wrong to Need You by Alicia Rai. This is an adult contemporary romance, but this series is called, I think, like Forbidden Hearts, and all of it is forbidden romance. The hero in this falls in love with his brother's widow, and so like very like, you know, slightly unhinged concept, but it's not just like a forbidden like scandalous kind of romance. Like obviously there's an element of that, but also it's deeply emotional, and actually like the story and all of that like makes a lot of sense. It's such an incredible romance. Like it's very steamy but super emotional and very angsty, and is the kind of romance where you do think like, how is this going to work out? You know, how are they actually going to be able to fall in love? And I think that makes for a very addicting reading experience. And I think that is why this book is perfect. And you should absolutely check it out. I feel like people have only read Alicia Rai's newer books. And honestly, I love this series more than the newer books, even though I enjoy the new ones as well. This series just like is very, very good. And I need more people to read it. So you should absolutely check this one out. The next book I have to recommend is Treble by Rilsey Adams. I absolutely love Rilsey Adams so much, and I would honestly recommend any of her books for this purpose. So this one I just kind of chose randomly because it's very hard to choose. I literally love all of her books, and this is 100 pages long. It is a polyamorous adult romance, and two of the main characters are a couple already, and they have been polyamorous, but they always like dated another person separately kind of, and they've never been interested in the same person until now. And so, you know, like a new woman joins their relationship, and it is beautiful, super fun, such a quick read. And I just feel like Rilsey Adams usually writes short books, but she still manages to develop the characters and the relationships in, you know, like a good, well done way. And so I loved every second of this. Her books are very steamy, super fun, and absolute page turners for sure. I feel like most of her books I have read in like a day or two. And so you absolutely need to check this one out. Again, along with many others. Her books are also on Kindle Unlimited if you have that, and at least most of them. And so definitely pick this one up. Next one is actually another polyamorous novella, and that is The Bootlegger's Bounty by Adriana Herrera. And this one is like a pirate historical romance, and I think it's historical in like the 20th century. I don't exactly remember, and it's not written on Goodreads, but yeah, the dynamic of the three of them is just like all of them are different in a way that like they're perfect together. And the female main character is a jazz singer, and she's on the run, and she joins this ship, and so there's like basically like a grumpy pirate, and you know, the like charismatic, flirty guy, and I feel like that's always the best combination ever. And so yeah, I absolutely loved this. And again, the vibes of the plot are a little bit more, there's more things happening, you know? And so I feel like this is perfect as well, and you should absolutely check it out. And I have not heard a single person talk about this, and so definitely pick this one up. You will be devouring it. I'm sure you will be devouring it. The next one I think also is an incredible page turner is the Halifax Hellions by Alexandra Vasti, and this is basically two novellas, and I originally read them ages ago when they were just separate books, and so this one is technically two books in one, and it is absolutely iconic. Like, I cannot put into words how addicting it is. Like, the characters are incredible. Like, they're full of personality, and the writing is full of humor and just like feel good vibes, and the romance is swoonworthy and absolutely wonderful, and it is just like the best time ever. And so you need to pick this one up. Absolutely super quick reads and just incredible romances. And if you have not read any of Alexandra Vasti's books before, this would be a great start. And so you definitely need this one. So next one is another novella, which is Guidance by Danielle Allen. And this is another contemporary romance, and I loved every second of this. And I think it's literally like maybe even a little less than 100 pages. So I'm not gonna tell you anything about the plot, but I said in my review, I said it's so hot, and there's major like single dad and major worshipping vibes is what I said, and like let me take care of you vibes, and that is like the best thing ever, you know? Like, there's just a tiny line on Goodreads that is, when you're a mental health professional, your job is to take care of everyone else, but who takes care of you? So, you know, you will find out in the book. And I love Danielle Allen as well. Similarly to Rosie Adams, she writes incredibly addicting, wonderful romances that are often shorter, but very well developed, and just like an absolute joy to read. And so you absolutely need to read them. The next one is I'll Pretend You're Mine by Tashi Bhuiyan, and I absolutely love Tashi Bhuiyan's books so much. And this is a YA contemporary romance on the older side. The main characters are like 18 or 19 or something like that, and it is absolutely amazing. So it is a fake dating romance. It is like a singer female main character and a actor male main character, and they have to fake date, and it is just so wonderful. It's such a sweet, amazing romance, but it deals a lot with mental health as well. The main character, Summer, basically when she turns 18, she quits working with her parents because they were very toxic and abusive, and so she like works with someone else, and she actually has the same manager as the love interest in this book, Jules. And so that's how they like connect, and then they fake date, and it has amazing like mental health representation and like healing and all those things in a way that like is perfectly in sync with the romance as well. And so it is just it's an incredible book, and deals with anxiety and like just so many important things, but just like in the best way ever. And I loved every second of this. I think this might be my favorite Tashi Bhuiyan book, even though it's very hard to choose. And so I need you all to read this as well. And it is just absolutely incredible. Then I have another graphic novel to recommend, which is The Avant-Gardes by Carly Azzedin and Noah Hayes. There's 2 volumes of this, obviously I recommend both. But once again, it's like a little over 100 pages. And it is beautiful art style and found family and sports vibes. They play basketball, and the main character basically is new to town and finds, you know, friends, and it's beautiful, it's diverse, absolutely amazing. Again, like such good vibes and an ultimate comfort read, and beautiful to look at, you know? I'm like, what else do you need? And yeah, also let me know actually if you would like me to do a graphic novel recommendation video, because I don't know if I've ever done it, and I absolutely love graphic novels, and I have finally been reading more of them again, and it's honestly been very helpful in getting me out of my slump as well, because like I love it so much, and it's just, yeah, it's incredible. And so definitely check this one out. It's one of my absolute favorites, and I desperately need to buy the physical copy so I can read it whenever I want. And so obviously recommend this one. Then one book that I randomly thought about that I literally read ages ago is Mirage by Samaya Daud. And this one I own physically back home. Unfortunately, I don't have it here, but it's a beautiful cover and it's a beautiful book. And so this is a YA fantasy. It's a Moroccan-inspired world by a Moroccan author. And it is very high stakes, very fast-paced. I think it's not that long. I think it's like, yeah, it says 320 pages. So that is absolutely perfect for a fantasy book. The main character, Amani, is kind of like a daydreamer and she dreams of a better world, and she gets kidnapped and she is told that she looks a lot like the princess, and she needs to take her place like whenever she shows up in public, so that if there's any danger of basically someone wanting to kill her, they don't actually kill the real princess. So obviously like very horrible situation. And she also starts to fall in love with the princess's fiance. And I loved this so much. It's a duology and both together is very short. It is just incredible. Beautiful world, amazing characters, again, very high stakes, and you just have to keep turning the pages. And honestly, I desperately need to get these books here so I can read it as well again. And so definitely pick this one up. And I also need to see if the author has written any new books because haven't heard of it. I would love that. And unfortunately, I don't think so. But hopefully sometime soon, because this was amazing. The next book is It's Different This Time by Joss Richard. Another book that I absolutely fell in love with last year, and I need every single thing that Joss Richard ever writes, and it better be a lot of things. Because this was a masterpiece. This was absolutely a masterpiece, similarly to Unromance, even though they have very different vibes. It made me feel like the same thing, where it was like, I love the characters with my entire being, and I have to see them fall in love. I have to see them happy, and not a single page of this was boring. And so this is Estranged Best Friends to Lovers, Second Chance. They, ages ago, became roommates very randomly. They didn't know each other, and then through that, they became best friends. And now they didn't talk to each other for a long time, like multiple years. And now they find each other back in New York, and the place they used to live in, there was an old man living there, and he passed away, and he leaves it to them in the will, and both of them together. And he didn't really have any relatives or anything. And so they're like, okay, you know, what the hell are we supposed to do with this? And so they have to see each other again to deal with the will, and like, what are they gonna do with this apartment? And things go on from there. It is like dual perspective, but in a way, like, I don't like dual perspective, to be honest. Like, I think often it takes me out of the story. It's like usually I prefer one or the other, you know? But that was absolutely not the problem in here, and I loved every second of this. And I need more people to read it, and I'm gonna be devouring Joss Richard's new book that's coming out this year, and it's just absolute perfection. The next one is Donut Summer by Anita Kelly, which was Anita Kelly's first YA romance, and I loved every second. And I know like a lot of adults don't read YA, obviously understandable, no one has to. But I think there are some incredible stories that can resonate with you even as an adult, and just, you know, because it's a wonderful story with amazing characters. And obviously it is easier usually and shorter to read than adult books. And Anita Kelly is an incredible author. They write mainly adult romance, but this one again, yeah, was their first YA, and I loved every second. It's kind of like Rivals to Lovers. The two main characters end up working in the same donut shop, and they're also trying to save it over the summer. And it's just like a deeply emotional, beautiful romance. And honestly, the characters feel quite mature for their age as well. And so it was just beautiful. Like, again, feel good vibes and such a quick read. But Anita Kelly writes a lot about mental health in a way that really like touches me and I relate to a lot. And it is just absolutely beautiful. And so definitely check this one out. Then I have to recommend Fair Trade by Millie Perez, and I do think this one out of the contemporary romances that I mentioned is the longest one, but it did not feel like it. It is an office romance, and with like a badass, like cool heroine, and you know, of course, like a charming hero, and hate to love, and they have to get a marriage of convenience, and they work together. So like forced proximity level, you know, 100, which like I love that so much. And It's also like, it's a sports romance as well, and like an office romance at the same time, which is an incredible combination. And they just had so much chemistry and it was so much fun. Definitely has like a very light tone and like in just the best way ever. And I just devoured every second of this. Like very hot, very fun, very well developed characters, and just incredible. And I desperately need to read the author's other books because I haven't since. And I really need to, and you have to get this soon. You have to read it as well. And last but not least, I have one more graphic novel that I also fully fell in love with, and that is Muted by Miranda Munt. And obviously I recommend, again, all the volumes, which so far, basically, it was like published from Webtoon, and it is still available on Webtoon. And I think there's like extra content in the books, but it's still the same story. And so I think you can read the entire thing on Webtoon, or there's 2 volumes of like the published version. And so I did read it on Webtoon, and it is beautiful. It is absolutely incredible, and I don't even know where to begin. So it's kind of like an urban fantasy, I would say. And it's about witches, and there's these different witch families, and the main character lost her parents, and she's been living with her horrible aunt. She basically escapes from this family to kind of join another. Also finds, you know, like healing and friends and love, and it's beautiful, it's emotional, the characters are wonderful, the art is gorgeous. Every single thing about this is perfection. Like, I love the vibes so much, and it's obviously like very fast-paced and quick to read as well. And magical and beautiful and everything that I could ever want from a graphic novel, to be honest. So you absolutely need to pick this one up. Highly recommend, and I think it should absolutely help you get out of a reading slump. So with that, I'm gonna stop talking now. I hope you found some good options for you to read, and let me know what books you think would maybe before have helped you get out of a reading slump. And yeah, if you made it this far in the video, leave any flower emoji down below, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'm gonna see you soon in another video. Bye!